Good morning, everyone. My name is Marie Oliveria, and I currently work for the Human Resources Office here on base. And just by a show of hands, can I see how many people are actually interested in getting government jobs while they're here in Japan? That's great. I'd love to see that there's a lot of interest. Well, I myself am an HR professional. I'm a career government employee. I started out with the City of Los Angeles, and then I worked for the City and County of San Francisco. I worked for the City of Alexandria, Virginia. And prior to coming here to Japan, I was the Human Resources Director for the District of Columbia government, one of their agencies. And, being an HR professional, you would think that I have it all figured out. When I came here to Japan, easy. I have a good resume. I know what people are looking for when they interview. I know how to determine what my skill sets are and fit it with whatever openings. But the truth is no. I think we can all agree that when you get here to Japan, that everything's a blur. Even people who have worked for government before or even have been here in Japan before, it's a little crazy with all the PCSing and just the general life issues that you have to deal with when you get here to Japan. So I think my point was that for the most part, people do feel lost, so don't feel like you're any different than anybody else that's sitting beside you. I felt really, really lost when I got here. In fact, I waited 1 year before I even started applying for jobs. That's how lost I felt. I volunteered for the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society for a while. I became the ombudsman for 7th Fleet staff. And just kept myself busy, but at one point I did realize that I probably should start working so that my certifications and my knowledge did not go to waste. And I did want to continue my career as well. So today I just wanted to share 5 things I wish I would have known. During that whole year that I had off, I really had a chance to marinate in my own thoughts and finding myself and understanding why am I here in Japan and what is in it for me. So one of the first things that I realized is that I wish I would have networked more. And I know that some of the panelists have mentioned this already. But talk to your ombudsman. They've been trained to give you the resources that are here on base. And they usually know a lot of people here on base too, so they can connect you to people that may be able to help you in other ways. I went and visited the Fleet and Family Services Center. They're such a huge, you should be going to them because they're a hub. They can tell you who your ombudsman is. They can tell you what kind of jobs are here on base as well. Go to the Human Resources Office at Command Hill. We do not bite. We're very friendly people, and we love it when military spouses come to talk to us because, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but we do want spouses to come and talk to us on base. And, you also, when you network with people, you find out what your options are. Now you start realizing that it's not just jobs at the NEX or teaching English that's available. You can get a good government job, a GS job. You can get a NAF job, a non-appropriated fund job. There's so many contracting companies that are willing to hire military spouses. So you start understanding what your options are. Number 2, and I cannot stress this enough, if you want a government job, you need to go to the military spouse family member preference briefing that HRO gives. And this is a shameless plug, but we have a class on the 16th of March. I encourage all of you to sign up, and we will, during the networking session, or come talk to me, and I will give you the information on how to sign up for that. But with the military spouse preference, here in Japan, it's important for you to understand that all the jobs that's posted on USA Gov in Japan are offered to military spouses first. So in the past, that's a policy change. Back in May of 2016, there was a change in policy that where all jobs included military spouses in their area of consideration. So, there's many options there for you. Another thing is that with a military spouse preference, you only get to use it once, and you have to use it strategically. And if you go and apply for a job and you didn't really want it, but they asked you for an interview and you decline that interview, you lose your military spouse preference. So there's all these nuances about the military spouse preference that you should know about. And once again, the preference doesn't mean you're going to automatically get a job. It means that you get to compete for it, and you have to meet the basic qualifications and be among the best qualified applicant. So if there are many qualified applicants and you are one of the best, well, guess what? The likelihood of you getting it is very high unless there's another military spouse or a military spouse that's also a veteran right next to you. But military spouses are basically king, or I should say, king and queen, here in Japan. Another thing is that, number 3, you have to set a goal. Now that you know your preferences, you've networked, you know what the opportunities are, what kind of job are you willing to get? Knowing that maybe your previous jobs in your previous field are not available here. So what are you willing to do? And number 4, you need to know your self-worth. I know that Jill talked about this a little bit, but don't sell yourself short. For instance, if you had a GS-12 equivalent job back in the States, and you come here and you apply for, as a GS-4, and then you apply for it, and then you feel bad because you've taken this big gap in, or you basically feel that you could do a GS-12, but you're stuck with a GS-4. Don't do that. Know your strength. Don't settle for jobs that you don't think that you think you can do. Don't settle for, you know what I mean. And last but not least, please ask for help. Ask the people that you've networked with. Ask me for help. I'm a very open person. I love helping people. And if you have any questions about whether your resume is good enough, or if it needs to be edited, or if you need interview skills because maybe you've never interviewed for a government entity before, or if you're trying to look for jobs and you don't know what the resources are, please come and ask me, or ask anybody at HRO. We love to give information. And I said earlier why we love military spouses is because that it makes our hiring go by faster. So if you have qualified military spouses that come and see us about work, well, since military spouses are king and queens here in Japan because of the preference, well, it makes us do our work faster, and it gets you into a job faster as well. And that's it. Thank you very much.